Lane. It's the final match, Classic up against Byun, and it should be a really good one. There's so much on the line for both of these players. What are you thinking, Wolf?
I mean, the last time we saw them face off against each other in SSL directly in an important matchup, an elimination match, Classic was victorious. One of the more emotional moments in Byun's career. He failed there, but he was able to triumph right afterwards to then take his wins in both the round of 8 and the semifinals to the GSL to eventually defeat SOS in that grand final. Maybe this time it's different. Maybe this time Byun beats Classic and has an incredible run in Premier. Our maps are going to be Newkirk, Abyssal, and Belshir Bastage. So Belshir could make an appearance this evening, despite being mostly absent.
What's that map? Never seen that one before, Wolf.
And Newkirk Precinct has been so common tonight. It's Classic's map pick. Wants to play that Phoenix style. Will Byun shut him down with Widow Mines? Big question going into this one. Let's start game number 1.
Fly better fly, Jin Air. Going into Newkirk Precinct. Down here in the bottom left, it is Classic. One of our former SSL Challenge players looking to make it into Premier.
And his opponent, down to the bottom right in blue, it is Byun. GSL champion. Very close many times to making it to playoffs and high stages of SSL, but unfortunately never went all the way.
Both these guys, GSL champions. Both of them an SSL Challenge.
That's right.
It makes sense. Looking to join the rest of the champions. And something crazy is going on the Korean broadcast. I don't know what it is.
Not entirely sure.
There's one fan going absolutely crazy.
I get the feeling maybe the Korean commentators offered to buy him dinner or something like that because he seems real hyped about it. But a bunch of really enthusiastic fans for the Challenge broadcast down here. It's the first time the Korean commentator duo actually commentate live and in person.
Trio, rather.
Yeah, sorry.
The three of them.
Yeah, the team is what I meant to say. So we're going to see a Gate Nexus core opening here for Classic as he harasses and will look to delay the command center of Byun quite significantly. Reaper is on the way. Can I even harass this SCV further? We'll pull away. Ooh, pulls away 1 second too late. The tip, obviously, you want to pull away always at 5 shields because you will lose the 5 shields every time. The second you see 5, you pull away because during the acceleration when the probe moves away, you'll lose those shields, but you won't lose any more hit points, and then you can regen and come back. He did it 1 second too late. That's why I lost a little bit of hit points, but doesn't stick around to block the CC, doesn't commit to a pylon or anything like that. And just going to back away. Byun will get the scout very soon as to what he's up against. But this is it, man. This is huge.
For all the marbles, 1 best of 3. And I'm expecting Classic to play very similarly. A very, backed off, kind of passive, macro style. Try to get at third base as fast as possible. And open with the Stargate, but I am totally wrong as he opens with Twilight Council.
This is smart, but can he deny the scout? So far, yes. This is it's highly unusual, just to put that out there.
And on this map especially, you just don't really see it all too often. And to be honest, he's really going to be looking for the scout with that Reaper. I think he might be able to sneak in here.
Adept not in position, he's going for the chase. Oh, he went down for a second, a misclick here. Will the Shade complete to deny the scout? He pushes away, but he does see the Twilight Council, and he sees the completion. Such an important moment here for Byun. That tells him everything.
Blink on the way. Looking to put on some pressure here is Classic. Could just use it defensively as well. It's a different way to deal with it, especially if you're dealing with stuff like, Widow Mine drops or drops in general. You can blink underneath. It's an older style.
Here's the concerning thing, though, Valdez, is that if he does go for that Widow Mine drop, the lack of detection will be a very big problem for Classic when he's not decided to resolve here. Knowing his opponent knows he doesn't have detection, he finally adds the robot. Was getting a bit concerned because if you have 1 Widow Mine and you pull probes every time and you only lose 1 probe to every single Widow Mine shot, then you're still in a really bad position. You're pulling your probes nonstop, and that's best case scenario. So is going to eventually make that robo. The first Widow Mine won't be detected immediately, but he will eventually have the answer to that with the Mothership Core also about to finish here. Has Adepts in position. If he could target perfectly, perhaps he stops this from going off.
And you can see the build from Classic. He doesn't go for that earlier third Nexus because when you go for this kind of builds, you're very much passive. You don't have any map pressure. You have to just defend. And here's the first drop. Widow Mine comes
targeted.
Down. Oh, it gets down.
But it's not in range. It's not in range of the mineral line. That probe thought it was. That's why he went to initially trigger it. Also made sure that the gateway units could chase the drop ship away. But this could have been a lot worse. This is basically best case scenario for Classic. Well, second best. If he had killed the Widow Mine with one more shot, that would have been best case. Yeah. But second best case. As the Observer will come out before the second shot is available. This is so smart by Byun, though. Comes over to kill the probe. Unfortunately, doesn't get the kill. Will delay this.
Uh-oh.
I spoke too soon. The Observer was out before the second shot, but not in position. He's actually just going to fight this straight up. Microing back the medevac here. No stim, unfortunately, though, so.
Yeah, nice blink underneath there. And we do have stim coming on in. Looks a little bit late, maybe because of the builds that Byun went for the fast tech into the drop. And we do see finally that third Nexus coming down in a different location, a little bit closer to Byun, actually. So that's where Patience tried to put it down.
Charged Zealots, the answer yet again here. It's very similar to what we saw Patience attempt to do with this third base location. Very important for Byun to identify this early. The cool thing for this position that Byun is in is he delayed the third base significantly, forced a few probe pulls, and now because there's no backstab potential of the Oracles, there's no Phoenixes to shut down his drops, he kind of has full reign in mobility right now. He's going to have the ability to fly around with medevacs, look for harass, look for big drops, can retreat from engages, for example. This is designed to stop a warp prism from coming to the main base specifically. The Observer will come in. Don't think he notices it. Stim and combat shields finished up here. Has the lead in army because he didn't drop a third base.
Insta scan there from Byun. Good spot on the Observer. And the 8 gateways will be up and running with charge and +1 armor when this does hit. So it looks like he will be trying to just go mainly charge lots. Going to be good for the tanks, but he desperately needs to get those up here. Also is getting a bunch of Immortals, has one out on the map. Looking to force the stims here, not looking to engage.
Yep. Oh, force field goes down here. Gone a bit timid, to be honest. Yeah, it does end up turning in fighting there. I think Classic just trying to scare him to thinking that it was going to be a bad trade, which was not the case, especially considering the lack of anti-air for Classic. Gun could have just picked up the majority of those units. Anyways, here's the big push that matters when the tanks get in range. Gonna see this engage now. Classic wants to fight here. Charged Zealots up in the front. Widow Mine's a bit late here. The tanks are down, but now that the Marauders come in and the Widow Mines, you can tell Byun's confidence doesn't even burrow the Widow Mines here. Just gonna keep them above ground so they can continue to stagger forward. The tanks never got in range though to poke this Nexus, so Classic lives to fight another day without a positional disadvantage. Charged Zealots though, he doesn't have an overwhelming amount of them anymore. He doesn't have a tech advantage. And
those upgrades are
size advantage.
Yeah, those upgrades, just 1 for 1 here. Widow Mine slowly moving forward. And we got Liberators on the way. Really nice force fields here. The Widow Mine's actually hitting a lot of bio in the front.
Oh, they do finally connect here with the sentries. And this army is just getting whittled down. No more Zealots to kind of tank for the army in the front lines. And this is just one piece of Byun's army. The rest of it's coming back. Liberator's in position here. And he's got more reinforcements coming across. Liberator is being targeted. Doing a lot of extra DPS here, though. Another one comes to join.
Time warp, big warp in here. 5 Zealots, and he gets caught in the time warp. Those Widow Mines looking to get the hits. Nice blinks underneath.
Are there enough stalkers here? Looks like just barely.
What a scrappy fight between these two.
But the trades are just consistently better for Byun, who just has the better production, and he's rallying across the map. The expensive units for Byun or the medevacs, and they aren't dying. They are out of energy for the time being, so it's going to buy a little bit of time for Classic, who now finally has that higher tech.
Classic was really struggling with making units at the same time as fighting. Was really focusing on the micro, and I think he had to do that with the Liberators in play. like the choice, but you could see at the end of that fight he had 1,000 gas. Dumps a lot of it straight into upgrades, Archons, as well as +2 armor. So looks like we are going to stabilize for now. Even Classic getting a 4th base in a weird spot. I suppose maybe this is easier to defend against Liberators there. I'm not exactly sure why you put it right there.
I guess that would be the main answer, right? Or it's also very unexpected. So Byun is actually sending a drop to the top left of the map. There's no base to harass there. He's also going to be away from scouting because it's away from the areas dropships will fly. So the Widowmine, we talked about it being in position for Warp Prisms earlier, or that was the idea at least. So with the angle that Classic took, perhaps the scout with the Observer earlier was able to find a chink in Byun's armor, takes out 8 SCVs. So expending some Zealots, but this buys him time. Here's that Widowmine, this time in position, and that's the kill.
Yeah, just had to scratch it a little bit with that Marine first, and in the meantime, Classic moving very confidently towards that 3rd base. Again, it could just be a show of power, a pressure move to get him to ignore that 4th base that Classic is attempting to get, and it buys a lot of time for the upgrades to come in. The Storm, the +2, and even the extra Forge to get those other upgrades up and running.
And we see Classic take kind of the same approach as he did against Maru with the Storm before Colossi, getting the Psy Storm out early, getting it out first, building up those Storms to then transition, of course, into the Colossus tech to kind of have the AoE damage split between these. The Storm going to be the best one against this Liberator tech coming out from Byun. So he just forces again an early siege, but no answer this time for the Liberators in the natural right now. Widowmines do get burrowed. A few shots go off. Liberators are targeted. Storms go down, but Byun continues to kite back. He's lost a lot of units here, however.
Now, all those medevacs got caught in the Storm. You see there's one medevac. Classic, he does move those probes out of the way and is still on the chase. This Widowmine's not really getting the damage, and there's more Storms in the back that are ready for Classic. It looks like he really wants to take a fight with those Storms.
Yeah, the Storm's really the key here. One medevac isn't enough to heal this army, as every time Byun stims, starts to take a lot of damage.
Oh boy.
Lucky with a Warp Prism there. There's a lot of bio down here though, and Classic needs to be careful that he's paying attention for every engage. Needs to make sure he has enough units to deal with the Liberator tech as well. So 4 of them on the map. Only 13 Stalkers. A poor engage outside of Liberator zones means that when he comes into them, he's going to struggle with the lack of anti-air. So every step of the way, he has to be cautious.
I love this play. Just go for that weak main. You got a small horseshoe effect in the main, if you will, as you would call it, Wolf.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Trying to get this angle now at the same time. I feel like you should wait until Byun reacts to your drop.
About 4 units expended there for Byun for 2 High Templar. Any timer will take that trade any day of the week. Now the Liberation Zones here coming down, but the main base still under attack as a second wave of Zealots come in. Heavily upgraded with a +2 armor now. The rallying bio just simply isn't enough right now. This is going to force Byun to have a big reaction, sending his main army into the main base. Leaves the 3rd base open for attack. But these Widowmines are going to do just the same. And doesn't like Classic has noticed.
Oh boy, this should get a lot of damage. He doesn't really spread them out. I think they could have gotten even more.
Did he
wanted
kill?
To make sure.
Did he kill the command center? I think it's lifted, right? Okay, yeah, it's lifted. I can see on the minimap. Scared me for a second there.
Yeah,
it's actually burning though.
It's burning. And again, I mean, so low on medevacs is Byun still 2 medevacs. So all of that bio is red and orange right now because of all of the stimming that he was forced to do. Wow, one Zealot against the engineering
armor.
bay.
Yeah, and he denies the armor. This base still seemingly unscouted by Byun, perhaps starting to get an idea of this, well, inklings of what Classic has been doing behind the curtains, behind the scenes here. It's always the story of the larger army versus the larger quality of army. With the 6 High Templar now available for Classic, Byun is still going to struggle now with only 1 Liberator with this bio. First Storm is launched. Splitting his units now, but going to be very difficult to engage here. Perhaps attacking the 4th base would have been a better idea, as once again, Zealots find their way into the main base.
All this bio is super low. A couple of good Storms would get this. Those 2 medevacs have no energy, like 0. I'm talking 0 energy right now.
This starts to feel like the last time these two faced each other, Byun just struggling to deal with the higher tech. The late game units that Classic greedily got out earlier that allowed him to now take this hidden 4th base. Byun is not aware. He's not aware of this.
It's a big problem. And you can see Byun, he's pumping out 2 medevacs at a time, but he's still dealing with harass in the main. He could never kill that Warp Prism. It looks like it's still alive in the bottom right. Classic just going to go for the engage, ignoring the Widow Mines, pushing on through.
That was a really expensive exchange for Classic because of the Archons, but still, he's going to now clear up these Widow Mines. Ooh, eventually.
He's got 2 observers. Okay, here we go. He's going to clear all those Widow Mines up.
Byun is, because he's unaware of the 4th base, so hell-bent on attacking the 3rd. And unfortunately, because of this, he's attacking into bad positions over and over again. It feels like he's wondering, why does he have so much? How can he afford all these high-tech units? Where's the gas? If I just keep attacking, he'll eventually run out of storms, and I will, with the cheaper units, overwhelm him on 3 base versus 3 base. But the reality is there's a 4th. It's not true. He scans it. He sees it. And now he's going to go over and look for it here with a triple drop. But of course, Classic's very much aware.
Yeah, spotted by that observer over the Abyss. On the chase now, even with this blink. And again, the Warp Prism is still alive in the main, still chipping away. More and more Zealots get warped in, gonna take out the Armory now.
There was a window of time for Byun to find a win in this game, and it's closed now. I mean, there might be a small sliver of light coming through before it's slammed shut and locked, but at this stage, Byun, he had the larger army. He wanted to use the cheaper, more cost-efficient units to eventually roll through Classic, assuming it was incorrectly 3 base versus 3 base, but now the window is closed. He was ahead in army, he had the large army. Now his army is the same size as Classic's, and Classic has 2-2 upgrades. The engineering bay was killed earlier. Now he's got the transition to Colossi. Worst case scenario, when the Ghost comes out, or when they come out here and get some EMPs off, he's going to have the next answer here. Byun struggling to take one more fight. Don't know if he's going to be able to make it happen. Down on upgrades, down on tech, and his 3rd base is under attack.
Classic with the Classic A move, if you will, coming on in, is just so far ahead at this point. Big counterattack over here. It looks like there are some storms available, and he should be able to catch that. Byun with no mining bases currently.
Terran, the more micro-intensive race, is going to be difficult to micro this attack while also microing on the defense. As you can see here, struggling with his micro. Does get the evacuation, but is now stuck up here. The base eliminated now. Classic checks for a 4th, wondering why Byun is still so tenacious in this game, but there just isn't one. Now moving forward with this army, he is going to get shoved into his natural, and that should be lights out. No way back into this one. Even with the EMPs here, the barriers are popped, and that is game over. GG.
Classic going to take it there in game number 1 on Newkirk, and I'm kind of scared to see what Byun looks like. I feel like, a lot of the time you can really tell where his mind is at based on his face. Looks calm still. It's a good sign for a Terran player. We are going into Abyssal Reef for game number 2, so maybe he's feeling comfortable on that map, but
I'm really worried about this as we go into Abyssal Reef. It's a map where the map is likely to go late game. I'm going to see 3rd bases come out. Classic's going to get that Storm Tech, have the transition available to those Colossi. Classic's already shown the proclivity to move away from the Stargate style that Byun was so prepared for. And now when he switches it up, Byun struggling to find that damage with the Widow Mines. Classic just having his number. The big issue in this game, though, the elephant in the room, is not identifying that 4th base is what really cost Byun the game. Had he sent units there while also attacking the 3rd base, perhaps he evens it up and gets that cost-efficient win he was looking for with that Bio Army. He didn't see it, he didn't know, and Classic's now 1-0.
Well, here we go, guys. Jumping into game number 2 for Abyssal Reef. Here we go, game number 2. Go out there and tell your friends we got a good series on. Down in the bottom right, it's Classic, the Protoss player. Playing that classic SKT style.
Yeah.
The macro.
Up to the top left, his opponent, it's Byun. Here we go. I mean, I'm getting really hyped about this one. It feels like so unrealistic. It's not fair. It's not, life's not fair, right? But one of these players is not going to Premier. What is it? Let me think about it. 9 weeks, I believe, of regular play. And that's so much stability. That's so much fight money. So you get fight money, of course, for just even participating in a series. $200 minimum in a best of 3. plus the extra exposure for sponsors. For Byun, that's very significant since he's the one of these two players that has one, but perhaps for Classic to gain one, that would be what he would want to have here. And it's just so unfortunate one of these two players, both these players are S level, will just walk home without that. We'll have to play the online challenge broadcast. We'll play in an empty studio. As much as the Korean commentators are funny here and they're comedians, that's not what they want. They don't want to be the play. They don't want to be the game.
They're not
in the background.
They're not going to be laughing while they're playing in challenge. That's for sure.
They don't want to be the play that's happening in the background while the comedy show of the Korean commentators is going on. And obviously the commentators do take the game seriously, but it's a much more relaxed atmosphere, right? When yourself and Rapid with your pretty funny outfits, you guys sit over there on the couches and it's very chill, but this is a Star League. This is Premier. This is televised match. You got fans in the audience right now looking at you standing in the booth. You want that future. You don't want to be in challenge, hoping to get into Fast Lane for 2018's season for next year. That's not the goal. That's not the long-term plan. The plan is to win this best of 3 right here, right now.
Byun still can't do it. 2 in a row. Classic, though, in a really good spot. I feel like taking Newkirk Precinct and taking that third base against a Terran and fighting off the aggression that Byun put onto you, where you were so close to dying. A couple of bad warp-ins, you know, a bad fight, you extend 1 inch too far across the map and you get hit by a Widow Mine, you lose that game. So he wins on Newkirk Precinct in locations that are not that great. Now you're going into a very defensive map. You love your late game macro style against Terran. I think Classic will be offered a much cleaner route to get there. And I'm really liking his chances. Byun, you know, an emotional player. I hope he can keep himself together after that first loss.
Definitely going to be tough, man.
I think he got the scout there.
Check it for me.
Yeah, he did.
So that's important. Now it is going to be the Stargate this time. So Classic will be looking to find avenues into Byun. So changing it up already in this best of 3. Going back to that last game, you know, you talk about the razor-thin defense. The Charge Zealot tech allowed that because he was able to force Byun to siege up both Widow Mines and Siege Tanks, and then later on Liberators far away from his base. And that's always the scary moment on Newkirk, specifically when the Terran army gets in range of your Nexus. They're chipping away at it, and you just can't push it back. But if you force them to siege 3 times with your defender's advantage and your warp ends, you have the larger army. When the siege is attempted, you force it back, you buy time, you have that economic advantage. So we'll see if with the Stargate opening this time for Classic, he can find that same defensive tactic. He's going for just the 1 Oracle into Phoenix to deal with the Widow Mine play that Byun has been showing so heavily in the TVP matchup this evening.
Yeah, trying to kind of change it up, go into the style that he used against Maru on Newkirk Precinct. Didn't really work out in that matchup, but perhaps a better map. There's a lot more room to work with on this map with the Phoenixes, and I feel like you can take more fights on your turf. If Byun really wants to attack into your third base, I think he'll be pretty happy about it. You can definitely find some harassment opportunities with those Phoenixes. A little bit easier on this map too.
Probe looking for that scout, anything that's coming his way, be it Bio on the ground for an early push, a medevac that might be swinging around the back of the natural. That's what that probe is designed to look for. Now it's on patrol. That's why it died to the Widow Mine earlier, because it patrolled into it. He just puts it there on patrol so it doesn't show up in his idle worker count. He's going to have it over there for whenever Byun decides to move across, what type of composition it is, when it's coming, the timing, all of these things would be known to Classic if Byun were attacking right now. He's going to have this follow-up Phoenix to look for drop ships on the left side too. And he's looking for the kind of catch-all defense here. And if you think about a game of dodgeball, right, if you catch the ball, you win. And that's kind of the idea of Classic here. He's trying to catch the push, catch the aggression from Byun, shut it down early while he takes that third base. Very similar transition to 3 more gates. Like to see the charge upgrade come out here with the additional gateways to get some Zealots. It's actually going to be Adepts this time, though. And Byun with a very quick Ghost Academy.
I think Byun is reading this really well. He sees the Phoenix and he's like, oh, okay, you're going Phoenix Adept. I'll just make a Ghost Academy extremely early. Maybe looking for a 2-base push, adding 2 more barracks, and I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. I like the read. This might not be the easiest map to do it on, but again, a very strong composition from the Terran. If you can land those EMPs on all the Adepts, you can just shred through them so easily with your high Marine count.
Yeah. Obviously, you can nullify the Phoenix's effectiveness as well by removing their energy as well as their shields. They don't have a lot of hit points in the first place. You take half that away, and they fall out of the sky. They grab this Widow Mine. Good map awareness by Classic. And this army is revealed by the Oracle. Not even attempting real harass with the Oracle, just using it for extra vision, extra information. He's going to tag once more if he gets the opportunity. Not enough energy at this moment in time, but still in position to scout this army, which is still being revealed by that first revelation. +1 attack finishing very soon for both players, but the most critical upgrades of all are going to be the Glaives and the Stim Pack upgrades for the Terran. So here comes the attack. It's pure Marine. Widow Mine's in the dropship. He's going to use that for positioning here. Comes the first overcharge.
The EMP is huge. It hits everything. He's stimming on in, trying to take away as many of these Adepts as possible.
Stasis hits only 3 Marines, but it is significant as more Marines get picked up and chased away. The EMPs coming out of the dropships here, pretty useful, but unfortunately just not enough to finish any of the Adepts off. So close, but yet so far. And the catch tactic here of Classic, as I said, the dodgeball analogy, he caught the ball here, and it feels like Byun just might be out.
Saw it coming miles away, and I don't know, he hits the perfect EMP, but still just not enough, right? I mean, you have enough units there, you've got overcharges, you have the stasis wards. It's just Abyssal Reef. It takes Byun forever to get to the third base, and Classic saw it coming a mile away. He has the perfect defense, so that's exactly what I said before the push. I like the idea, but I'm not sure on this map. And yeah, definitely not looking good. Byun trying to get his third base up now.
And immediately the response from Classic was, remember, Classic knew there was a push coming across. He didn't know exactly what type of push it would be, and this is going to be a further thorn in the side of Byun, the delay here on the command center. He didn't know what kind of push it would be, but now that he does know, he has to transition not to Templar, but to Colossi, because the Colossi are going to counter the Ghosts. Not directly, but they will give some extra range, some extra AoE for these Adepts to finish off the Bioforce. Well, the Viking count is still small, and a small Viking count versus Colossi, obviously you can't deal with the Colossi when there are 6 Phoenixes on the map. You're going to need a massive amount of Vikings. It almost feels like this game has reached its checkpoint. Byun is going to have to do a lot with this push if he wants to come back. And already now, he's on the retreat. Widow Mine's not in position here. They do burrow. That was a close call.
I thought Classic was actually going to commit to that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. You're not gonna throw him the beach ball to catch, are you? Well,
landed Viking here. The desperation tactic on defense as more and more Adepts shade through. The Widow Mine's here, the key factor. Remember, that's why he couldn't shade him before. Already picks 2 off. This is getting scary, Valdez, for Byun here.
Big
now,
warp
no units in position. The liberation zone is completely avoided.
Desperately trying to get those down. Widow Mine's in position. Classic easily able to skirt around the edges. Oh boy.
The Widow Mine's going to kill the SCVs.
16 go down, and still no damage over here at the Protoss base.
He's forced to attack, but he can't. Not against this many units. The force field's available. All of these Adepts, plus overcharge. He's caught between a rock and a hard place, and I'm not sure he's going to find his way out.
Look at that. Easy lifts on the last 2 Widow Mines in the front. He's just going to stim up here and try to poke as much as he possibly can.
No more Widow Mines in this. Could actually potentially shade it in. Just wants to take the high road here, knowing he's doubling his opponent's worker supply. He's soon to have that second Colossus and the Thermal Lance upgrade. So these are the tools he's going to need to finish this game out. Ben still has a small window of time, but it feels like with all these units harassing and him just unable to even hold on to his bases, he might just be out of luck. And here comes the shade, and this time he commits.
This time he commits. Still a lot of bio left over. Classic is going to retreat outside of the range of those Liberators for now. Definitely a small overconfident move, but as you're saying, I mean, he keeps killing so many SCVs. We're seeing Byun down to 31 here still.
There's a lot of sad Byun fans online, but not only that, in the studio, the crowd is silent here as this is his last attempt, his last push. Now into the third base. Liberator goes down to overcharge. Colossus range is finished, the +2 nearly done.
More and more SCVs dying. He can't deal with it.
This is going to be it.
He's going to go underneath these Liberators, and huge Widowmine hits, but the Colossi in the back totally
Doesn't
comfortable.
even need the blink. That's going to be it. Byun is going back down to challenge. And we have to welcome Classic to Premier. That's it. Game
GG.
over, GG.
Classic with a 2-0, taking him out. And there are actually some cheers going out to this player. I was happy about that. I hope it wasn't all just a Byun favored fan group here, but for sure, Classic deserved victory. And poor Byun, more hardship coming his way. You can tell how much he wanted it, how much he wanted to get into Premier. We talked about the differences, how important it is in this moment in history, in time for StarCraft 2 to be an SSL Premier, and he just could not make it happen tonight.
So much consistent viewership, so much consistent prize money from, even if you lose the match, you just get money by default. You get the ticket sales proceedings from the fans that show up to watch your games. And the era of Byun, it was very short. He didn't want to call it over until this series ended, because he just had mediocre results. He had a strong showing in challenge, but not being able to make it through this fast lane here. And maybe he's going to start a new era one day, but looks grim for Byun for the remainder of 2018.
Well, guys, let's talk to your victor. It is going to be Classic.
So we have our final player in SSL Premier. It is Classic. So how do you feel about the achievement?
최종전에서라도 이렇게 올라가게 돼서 되게 좋아요.
So he thought it'd be tough. He doesn't feel like he has a lot of momentum going for him these days, but was able to pull it off.
특히 GSL 4강 탈락 후에 페이스가 많이 흔들리는 모습을 많이 보여주셨잖아요. 네, 오늘 드디어 좀 그 부진에서 탈출을 한 것 같은데 어떻게 해내셨나요?
About form and recent form, you were eliminated in the GSL round of 4. How did you approach the fast lane matches here for promotion?
오늘 되게 중요한 대회잖아요, GSL만큼. 프리미엄도 되게 가고 싶기 때문에 오늘 열심히 준비했고 오늘 이렇게 올라가서 되게 다행인 것 같아요. 오늘 선수는 되게 진짜 멘탈 회복을 잘 했을 것 같아요.
I really just wanted to win today. It was so important to me. There was a lot on the line. And honestly, if I hadn't won today, I feel like I'm so sick of the game. I don't know what I would have done. He said he would have felt like he was sick of the game. Like, might have just been tired of it after losing this.
사실 기회가 두 번이잖아요. 근데 처음에
So after Deer defeated you, you finally have your victory. Any thoughts on that?
솔직히 처음에는 그냥 약간 기대를 안 하고 왔고 이제 오늘 이렇게 두 번째 날에 정말 열심히 해서 올라가자라는 생각.
I'm really happy I was able to qualify for day 1 of the promotions because everyone was playing so well on day 1, so at least I got the second chance. And everything worked out in the end, so it was very, very stressful about the first group. But thankfully had another opportunity. So you didn't have that much time to prepare, honestly, for this group. Only, really the 2 full days. So who helped you prepare for this? No one in particular, honestly. I just practiced on the ladder. I just feel like I wasn't playing enough, so I hit the ladder hard to just practice against various opponents.
분명히 1차 경기에서 잘 해낼 것 같다라고 말을 하면서 응원을 좀 했었거든요.
아 그래요? 저 이기고 올라가서 되게 얄미웠는데 사실 저는 이제 성주가 이기고 윤준이가 떨어져서.
Deer did compliment Classic after advancing on day 1, saying that Classic should be able to make it through tonight's matches. And Classic responds by saying, I kind of feel honestly a little bit offended because he was able to win on day 1. So, feels like it, he didn't say this exactly, but I suppose the feeling is that it was a bit condescending in a way. But going to the next question, it's about the game 1 on Byun, versus Byun, where he didn't scout the 4th base on Newkirk.
아까 성주랑 했을 때 먹었던 거 말고 이제 다른 곳을 먹었는데 심리전이 좀 잘 통한 거 같아요.
So he knew that he needed to take a 4th base, but he felt like taking the 4th base with the mind game would be unusual. So he thought that it was the better plan, considering the risk of taking the 4th base against Byun's aggressive style. So decided to go with that. So you're going to Premier now. You're not going to be seeing any of our caster trio here on the Korean side of things, and not you and Rapid together either, Valdez. But to be honest, I thought I'd be seeing them for a while, but I escaped. I mean, it's actually funny that we talked about this in terms of the narrative for that last best of 3, but it becomes relevant on stage. So it's like, oh, I can't make fun of the game. I can't play it anymore. Didn't quite catch that last question, but I suppose we're going into fan shoutouts maybe.
뭐 여기서뿐만 아니고 이제 제가 게이머 중에 나이가 많은 편이어서 늘 그런.
So because of your history and experience with SSL, you're kind of one of the senior players. You said people have been saying that about me for a long time. Are you still happy that I can go back? That you can go back to Premier? He's always been kind of considered to be a top-tier player, so he says that calling me a veteran of SSL doesn't mean that much. Other show with his results, how good of a player he is. Not really focused on the past. So any final words for the fans? I feel like I've been on a downward curve for a while. So he lost in the GSL, didn't get to the finals like he wanted, but he's looking to try really hard and advance to the finals of Premier. He wants to go all the way. That's his goal for next season. So, I mean, high aspirations, high hopes. It's he's definitely one of the players that could go all the way, but he's going to have to step it up as there are big roadblocks in his way. Other Protoss players like Hero, for example, that outperformed him on Monday, he's going to have to go through those in the round robin.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see Classic in Premier. I think we've got 4 more players who definitely deserve to be in Premier that are in Premier. I guess 2 of them were in them previously, Maru and Dark.
It's not fair, Valdez. It's my birthday and I can't have Classic and Byun in Premier. This is messed up.
Yeah, that's the format over here. So here are your lineups for Premier and for Challenge. Take a picture, guys. Post it online. This is what we will be having.
Yeah, it should be at the front page of the r/StarCraft Reddit in about an hour. So definitely a pretty good race distribution with Classic's win in Protoss, though. It's going to be Protoss dominant just slightly, but it's a really
many strong Protosses now.
4-4, but like 3-4-3 on both sides of Premier and Challenge. It's a really good race distribution, especially for a round-robin format. So pretty awesome. Excited to see if Innovation can defend his title, and to have players like Rogue, Impact, Hush, players we just don't see in SSL very often. I mean, Hush very rarely qualifies for individual leagues at all, so to see him here means that he might have a chance at 2018's Premier. A small chance considering his opponents, but hey, maybe he makes a grand comeback. That's what I like to see.
Bunny and Hush, the 2 CJ fans, or friends rather, coming from there, they have a history together. I'm sure they're going to be happy they're both in Challenge until they have to face each other, but it's pretty cool to have them both. I'm really excited about Premier. I think the lineups are even stronger now that SOS and Zest, they had those really terrible seasons, and Patience got knocked down, and one other person, I guess, or no, just those 2, SOS and Zest, being replaced. Yeah. But definitely a couple of stronger Protosses in Deer
Patience
and
as well,
Classic.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. There was another one. I was like,
I was confused.
It's fine.
Slightly confusing. But.
It's a long round for it. It's pretty sick though. Classic has made it in. He's got an opportunity. So in a way, this starts the season for Season 2. You could think of it as an end, a completion of everything that happened in Challenge. It's kind of all settled down to now. So we're going to be jumping into those matches coming up real soon. So I'm pretty hyped for Season 2.
They start on July 1st, rather, for Challenge. So definitely check out me and Rapid for that. And then I think Premier should start on the next Monday.
That's right. So I think it's the 3rd. So definitely be sure to check those out. It's coming up soon. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you. And shout out to Wolf. It's his birthday. But either way, guys, we're going to see you next time.